I read an article once about how mangoes make you higher. That's because mangoes contain a terpene called myrcene. And I'm thinking, oh my God, nobody's bottling this. There's enhancers for roots, there's enhancers for plants, enhancers for flowers, but no one's making an enhancer for the end user. So started doing some research, and that's how Couchlock was born. We started out in about 2010. I became a partner in a hydro store out in Glendale. I don't think I was smoking back then, but my partner was, and every night it would just smell so good. But I was a prohibitionist. I was against pot, and then I started realizing the benefits of the herb, and it just pissed me off. It really hurt me. It made me mad at other people who told me that, you know, cannabis was bad. So I went 180-degree flip and started this counterculture company called Couchlock. And the main goal is to get this counterculture product out into the mainstream and accepted. The secret ingredient in our drinks is something called a terpene, more specifically myrcene. Myrcene is what gives a mango and really dank weed that like sweet and sour, sweet and pungent smell. And what happens is THC by itself, it's hard for it to cross the blood-brain barrier. What happens now, THC will bind with a terpene molecule, and now that molecule has a greater propensity to cross the blood-brain barrier. So now your body is absorbing more of the THC. The value prop on our drinks, even though they work 100% fine on their own, energy, sleep, focus, now when you pair it 20 minutes later with a dank indica, or it's going to make it hit you harder and last longer, because now your body absorbed more. So you're not going to have to smoke as much to get to the same place. It's really good for people who have a high tolerance. It brings down the tolerance level. So we first started testing this out on patients for joint pain, and for them to go on a tolerance break was impossible for them. They would just be in so much pain. So one of our first testers of the product was this guy, Big Hempy, and he lives up to his name. He found out the product, he asked me, I sent him a sample. His wife saw it, and his wife wanted to drink some too, so they split the bottle. And the next day, I got this amazing email like, wow, I don't believe it fucking worked. And so he became one of our biggest champions after that. We have 3 different kinds. Our main product line is called Cannabis, and we named it Cannabis because we also contain an herb called Canna, which is an herb basically from South Africa. People have been using it for hundreds of years. It helps with anti-anxiety, mood elevator. Some people say that it acts as a serotonin uptake inhibitor. So by itself, Canna works well, you know, just to stabilize your mood. Then all 3 of our drinks contain myrcene, which is a terpene I'm talking about. And then on top of the base ingredients, we added melatonin, valerian, chamomile to this. So this helps with sleep by itself. We added 200 milligrams of caffeine to this one. So this is great, wake and bake, wake up if you need that energy. Great, this one. And our third product, which is the Magna High, doesn't contain the caffeine, doesn't contain the melatonin, but it does have more HTP and L-theanine, which people say absolutely helps with focus. So morning, noon, and night, you have something for any time, any mood that you're in. And then we expanded our products to include candles. We just did a collaboration with Raw. We're doing sprays. So now you spray it in your bong water, and as you're taking the hit, you're actually breathing in a lot of the terps. Plus, we're coming out with the spray that you actually put right onto your herb. So if you found that bag of herb from like 6 months ago in the back of your drawer, just spray it on there, and it's actually going to freshen it up. There's amazing amounts of momentum happening. Washington, Oregon, Denver, Alaska, all going recreational. DC, personal rights. I love the fact that my friends can now grow 4 plants on top of their house. That's just amazing, and it's the way it should be. It's environmentally friendly because now we don't have to hide all the grows, expensive lighting and everything else. Now, you know, get a couple pots, 5-gallon pots, and grow some pot, you know, up on your roof. Before I knew about the plant, I just thought that it was for people who wanted to disconnect, completely not part of society, you know, their own little. But then I look around and I see like some of my high net worth friends, $5–10 million a year, they're potheads. But I want people to understand that it's not, you know, an evil drug. Our bodies were created to enjoy cannabis. Mother's milk contains cannabinoids. It causes the baby to thrive. So we have an endocannabinoid system. And there's a lot more treatable diseases out there that are not on the list. And it's sad because people are dying from the pharmaceuticals when they can be effectively treated with cannabis. The biggest thing is to get the word out. Explain to people that cannabis is safer than alcohol. Cannabis is safer than tobacco. I mean, the numbers are just phenomenal. Meanwhile, nobody has ever died from cannabis use. It doesn't incite riots. It doesn't cause, domestic violence. Meanwhile, other legal things, alcohol, tobacco, pharmaceuticals, do.
Yeah, pharmaceuticals are now the leading cause of accidental death in America.
And I can just imagine what the indirect numbers are. All these antipsychotics and serotonin uptake inhibitors. Yeah, it's basically just dulling the knife, but also just creating zombies that don't have any way to deal with some issues. Imagine if they just had the ability to use a natural substance to elevate their mood. And I reached out to Ed Rosenthal, and he was just writing and going on how important terpenes are and the entourage effect. This is why the effect that you get from concentrates, from BHO, is going to be different than if you actually just smoked the flower, because the flower has a lot of the terpenes in there. So that cascades a different effect than if you're just doing dabs. And now the big buzzword in dabs is where people are reintroducing the terps after the processing. So it gives you a better effect. Go for it. Find a niche and service it. You don't have to have the entire industry. Just do what you do well in your corner of the sandbox. Stay in your corner and expand out from there. Don't think you can rule the whole box, because it's too diverse. Nothing has really been changed on the federal level, and all this positive momentum, all this legalization can change tomorrow. Even though it's legal in your state, the feds are still coming down right now. The DEA is cracking down really hard in Rhode Island right now, even though that their medical model is perfect, people are getting serviced. Because there was an unrelated fire to a processing facility, now the DEA is saying that there's no concentrates whatsoever, and they're just going on a witch hunt, and everyone's getting busted. Obama can say, yeah, we're going to let the states do what they want, but on the other hand, the DEA is just doing what they want. The people who really got rich at for the gold rush were the ones who were selling the picks and axes and shovels. You got the miners out there, which are great, which are going to be the growers and everything else, but if you're going to be in there, you're going to be selling the lights, you're going to be selling anything that kind of touches the plant, but not directly. That way, you're even though you're in the radar, you're still legal. I mean, who knows what's going to happen next year in Denver? These 50,000 square foot grows may get shut down, But at least I know that pot's always going to be here. Cannabis, there's 35 million smokers in the US. They're always going to be smoking, whether or not it's legal. My product helps those people because in illegal states, the pot quality is not as good as it is. This brings up the quality of that. But getting back to your question, what advice do I have? Look for any of the ancillary services, and then, once it becomes legal in New York or in your state, then you can expand. And talking about expanding, people are using our product right now and they're actually dosing it. So in Denver, in Washington now, you're going to find something called Lift Liquid, which is our product, but with 100 milligrams of THC in there. So once it becomes legal, then you can actually expand your product line. Couchlock.com. We also just started a website called JustGetHigh.com. It's a collab with another company, but that's going to be a lot of products, like a lot of new products that people don't know about. A lot of people don't know about the new flower vaporizers. They don't know about a lot of the technology coming out. So Couchlock.com, JustGetHigh.com, and hopefully at your local head shop.